Welcome back to This Old Nerd. I am Ayaz Akhtar, and you may be asking yourself, Ayaz, why are you covered in sweat and seem a little out of breath? Well, I was practicing for today's episode, and I've noticed that all our other episodes are really about sitting on your butts, you know, setting up a home media server and duplicating your home theater. This time, we're talking about something different. Today, we're talking about playing video games. Oh yeah, playing them on a treadmill. The main things you're going to need in this project are a monitor with the stand taken off. You're going to need a video game system, our case an Xbox 360. You're going to need a way to hook up the 360 to the monitor. We're going to use this K-World box. You're going to need some spare speakers so you can hear what's going on. You're also going to need a monitor mount that attaches to the wall and some kind of exercise device. We have a treadmill. Let's do a quick executive haiku. This is the explanation of the whole episode in haiku format 575. Play video games while you run on a treadmill. Good health and earn badges. And by badges, I mean things like achievements. Now, why on earth would we cover such a bizarre project? Why would you mount a monitor to hook up a video game system while you ran? Well, take a look at me before. Oh, look, there I am in the first episode of Channel Flip Web, a very, very portly gentleman. I'm sure I was jolly back then, wasn't I? Anyway, the main point is, if you're like me and you're in a committed relationship, odds are you got a little comfortable. Maybe you gained a couple pounds. Maybe you drank a few hundred beers and it kind of caught up with you because you were doing things like sitting on your butt with your home media server, watching all the Godfather movies and every other gangster movie you could find, and you just kind of gained the weight. Anyway, since I'm older and you're probably aging too, as we speak, you're older than you were when we started, you probably need to stay in good shape. And that's why I did this. I wanted to keep my mind busy. Because when I'm doing an aerobic activity, and as much as I hate aerobic activities, I know for a fact they work. They really help you slim down. This is the cardio you need if you want to have stamina to host a podcast. I mean, why else would you be in shape? Anyway, on the partner acceptance rating issue, we have a very easy argument. Here's what you're going to say to your partner. You're going to say, look, you know, I've noticed I'm a little bit out of shape, and if you're in good shape, by the way, you can still use this argument. It'll still work. You go, I'd like to better myself a little bit, not just for myself, but for you. I think you deserve a person who's in shape. If that argument doesn't work, by the way, you should totally reconsider your whole partner situation, because that should work. 99% of the times, that should work. If there's anything I know about aerobic activity, it is freaking boring. Running on a treadmill and staring at a wall, not very interesting. Go to a gym. They always have TVs up there. On a stationary bike, you got a TV, all this other stuff. Now, we could use like a PSP or a Nintendo 3DS or something like that. That's weak. Forget that. We're going to hook up a 360 like I said. We're going to play Guitar Hero 3 because if you're going to be a rock star, you're not just playing in 1963. Oh, look, I'm like the Beatles. I love the Beatles, but they don't move around very much, do they? You are going to be a freaking rock star. You're going to run from stage left to right in every other direction that you could possibly imagine. But you've got to be in shape to do it. And the real thing is, when you play a video game, if you're like me, your mind is going to be playing the game. And you're not going to even notice that you're running. Or if you're on an elliptical or some other aerobic activity. I do not suggest hooking up a video game system to your weightlifting routine because it just doesn't flow. There's no flow there. So now we're actually going to hook up the whole dang thing right now. Here we are. We have our monitor mount already hooked up to this piece of wood. Let's talk about the monitor mount and mounting it to something. In our case, I would love to show you us hooking this up a while ago. We did this a couple years ago. And we can't just take it off because I apparently was overzealous with the drill. These are completely stripped out, and if I removed this screw, I wouldn't be able to put it back, and I like the way this is actually on there. So just imagine I drilled 2 holes, and I did it right. So pre-drill your holes for your mount, attach your mount, screw it in, and that's pretty easy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, you're a cheater. You're this old nerd, and you got this big exposed basement, and you can just do everything so easily. Let's talk about a situation where you actually have a wall. That's right, I'm going there. In your wall, you have 2x4 studs separated by 18 inches. So you're gonna have a piece of drywall on top of that. So you got some nice solid stuff, hollow stuff, solid stuff. It's gonna repeat over and over again. Corners are different, we'll talk about that later. In the middle is a drywall. If you attach a screw to a drywall with some kind of weight, this stuff is coming down. You don't want that. You got your monitor on there. You don't want somebody getting hurt. Your dog could get killed. Bad things can happen. So get something like a stud finder. It'll actually find the left edge and the right edge. You'll find the center, and that's where you mount it. If you miss the center and you go off center, you might just kind of split the wood. It won't damage the stud, and your support will be fine for the most part, but whatever you've attached is going to come tumbling down as well. So just make sure you do that, or you can try the knocking method. Hollow sounds different than solid. I would suggest a stud finder because, you know what, it's pretty hard to fool a stud finder at least. So let's talk about not finding a stud. Maybe you can't find a stud, maybe you have metal studs so it doesn't work the same. Maybe you just want to mount it where there's drywall. What do? You get wall anchors. Now this works pretty easily. You drive in something, so either you drill a hole or use a hammer and you put this wall anchor actually in the wall, and when you screw in the anchor, it actually kind of flowers out and it distributes the pressure amongst the drywall. Now what that's going to do is allow you to mount something heavy like this, and it won't come tumbling down. This is the monitor that you've already seen on the mount. We're actually going to remount it to show you how that works. This is a 17-inch 4x3 Dell monitor. It actually was on this stand. It has a little button on the back which popped it right off of here. We're going to show you something about the back that's actually true of almost every monitor. Let's get a close-up of this. This is the back of the display. You can see the button we pushed. That's actually what removed the stand from the display. These four corners are what we really need to look at. This is where we're going to actually attach the mount to the display. Now this isn't some kind of proprietary deal. This will work with any VESA mount out there. So, you got your monitor mount, it's all hooked up, it's all ready, it's on the wall, it's all sturdy. You got your monitor all ready, it's off the stand. All you gotta do is line up the holes on these two and it's good to go, right? So, we're gonna try to hook this up, no problem, line it up. And if we were super strong, we'd hold this with one arm while we go and get the screws. And since this is this old nerd, we're gonna need some help. Okay, so we got our second pair of hands and they're helping us hold this thing. So let's not take too long because those second pair of hands can get tired fast. We're gonna take our 4 screws, we're gonna attach it to this Dell monitor. Now that this thing's all up there, let's hook up an Xbox. We have here an original Xbox 360. Why is that important? No HDMI. Now, if we had an HDMI device, we could hook that up with an HDMI to DVI connector because most monitors have a DVI. Let's show you where we keep our HDMI to DVI stuff. Camera person's getting caught, my mic cable's getting caught, but that doesn't matter. We're gonna show you my storage area. Here is an idea I stole from the Mythbusters. If you watch the Mythbusters, Jamie Heineman has this awesome M5 Labs thing. He's got boxes and boxes of labeled stuff. Huh? I stole the idea because it's a good idea. Labels, we have cables, USB FireWire, input devices for keyboards and mice, camcorders and thin clients, AV equipment, audio, video, and iPod. We have networking stuff. That's where we keep our cables. I don't know what's in this box. Hard drives, video games, and power cables because we got a lot of them. And this is our computer video and internal parts box. That is where we would find this. That's right, I bag my cables. What do we have here? We have an HDMI to DVI adapter. Now if you have a PS3, you just hook up this into your PS3 and this into your monitor. Now you get video, but you won't get audio. You're gonna have to use the optical out or some other way to get it to a speaker. Let's go back over there and hook up that Xbox to our monitor. This is a real life working house. This is my house. So if there's tripping and stuff, you know why. Here's our box. I told you it was an Xbox. That's our power cable. And this is our video hookup. I'm gonna turn our Xbox around. Can we get in close to the Xbox? We're gonna hook up the AV to the Xbox. We're gonna hook up the composite, which are the red, white, and yellow, to the K-World box. So red, white, and yellow. On the back of the K-World, we have a pass-through. If we wanted to use a monitor for regular computing, we could. We're just going to be hooking this up to our monitor that's mounted. So we have our monitor thing. We need a VGA cable. Let's go find a VGA cable. Let's go back. Computer video. And VGA cable. I mean, seriously, you got to keep your stuff organized, okay? If you're going to be a nerd, be an organized one at that. All right. We're going to hook up the actual VGA. So monitor to the box. I'm so talented. You know, this is real life, people. Sometimes this stuff happens. Now we gotta hook up the K-World to the monitor. So we're here at our monitor, we got our VGA cable. It's kind of a tight squeeze, but we can make this work. Attach that in. We're gonna screw in our 2 points. Now the Xbox is actually attached to this monitor. Obviously we have to hook up power cables and things like that. We're gonna do that and we'll be right back. So we got our 360 hooked up to a K-World device, hooked up to our monitor. You can actually see it's running. I don't think we actually have Xbox Live anymore. I better get on that. Anyway, you can't hear anything. So go get an old pair of speakers like we have here, attach it to the K-World, and you ought to be good to go. Let's get to the running. So we're at the crazy setup. Here I am. I got a wired guitar. Bad idea. You probably want a wireless one. I got a wired mic. I'm probably going to die on this take. Anyway, while you're running, your strumming is not exactly going to be the same as when you're standing still. So you're going to go into your options and change that. We have an option here for calibrating lag. You know what though? In the interest of time, let's move this along. Let's go ahead and start playing. Now this isn't as easy as it looks. It's hard to talk and play and do all this stuff at one time. I certainly don't recommend hosting a podcast while actually doing this. However, my mind is totally playing the game. I'm rocking out and I'm not even thinking about running. Now, one of the benefits of exercise in general is the fact that it actually helps with neurogenesis, which means you're building neurons. Well, what that means is you're going to be better at everything effectively. So while you're exercising and playing a video game, not only will you be better at just like, playing that game, but you're going to be better at strategizing at the game when you're not actually playing the game. So when you come back, you'll play really well. Also, a quick note, if you're going to actually play something like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network and chat with people, let them know you're on a treadmill. Otherwise, they're going to think something really weird is going on. 88% notes hit. It's not impossible. You can do it. And by the way, you don't have to do a crazy game like this. I play Street Fighter 4 like this, like crazy. Totally forget about stuff because I love Street Fighter. So I'm exhausted. I'm also this old nerd. I'm Isaac Tar, and I'll see you next week. Cut.
Wow, this is so much easier. You're a genius.